For Christians, Easter has always been about celebrating the central miracle of Jesus' death and resurrection. So it's been an important date in the Christian calendar, really going back to the very earliest days of Christianity. Of course, what we now know is that a lot of the various different sort of key Christian holidays have these links back to pre-Christian religion. A lot of sort of pagan traditions are associated with the seasons, and particularly with the spring and the time of new life and a new beginning. And Easter, of course, occurs around the spring equinox. This has been celebrated by people for thousands of years, a long time before Christianity. Pre-Christian world's full of lots of stories about this idea of rebirth in the spring, and which is very, very closely linked to the Christian tradition. A lot of different things that we associate with Easter are to do with the idea of fertility and new life. Obviously, rabbits and hares have been associated with ancient symbols of fertility. In Germany, there's quite a strong tradition, certainly in the 17th century, of the Easter hare, known as the Osterhaus. And they delivered eggs to good children who've been good. The idea of the Easter hare is then taken over to the US by German settlers in the 1700s. And that's where the sort of cuddlier Easter bunny comes from, because a hare isn't quite so cuddly as a fluffy bunny. And then the Easter bunny is then imported back from America into Europe in the 20th century. So it's gone full circle. Basically, eggs from very early days of Christianity have been associated with Easter. So right back to the Middle East and Mesopotamia used to sort of dye eggs around the period of Easter, which were then given as gifts, and was then adopted by some of the Orthodox churches in Eastern Europe, so in Russia and the Near East, and then that passed through to Western churches as well. And so eggs just get this great significance within medieval society. Things like egg dancing, which is when you put lots of raw eggs on the floor and you dance around them blindfolded and try not to crush them. There's also something we have in England called egg rolling, which is where you decorate your egg and then you roll it down a hill. And we think it might be linked to symbolising the rolling away of the stone from Jesus' tomb, and that's why you roll the egg down the hill. So as far as we know, it's one of these traditions that just emerged, and quite where it came from, nobody really knows. The Easter egg hunt is a German tradition again. We know the first example of it is actually from the Protestant reformer Martin Luther, who apparently organised egg hunts for his congregation, and he would get the men to go and hide eggs all around the church, and then the women and children would have to find them. And this was supposed to be a nod to the story of the resurrection, because obviously the empty tomb was discovered by women. So the idea that the women would find the eggs and the source of the resurrection. The Easter egg hunt is linked to the Easter bunny as well. It's the Easter hare who has hidden the eggs for the children to find. They don't become hugely popular or well known throughout Britain until much later in the 19th centuries. You get into the 20th century, and of course, with the growth of sale of chocolate eggs, then a lot of the confectionery companies are very keen on promoting Easter egg hunts in order to sell their products. Easter's always been this period, or this moment of sort of celebration and renewal, and so it's always been a very joyous time for Christians, and a time of quite a lot of merriment. So a lot of these different activities, it's been really positive, the beginning of spring, the beginning of new life and everything. It's just a nice time to be alive.
I'm Amy Freeze. Welcome to Fox Weather's YouTube page. We have more great videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all things weather.